Hi, I'm Bob Hogensen, host of Destination Treasure Coast. On this episode, we take a trip to the waterfront community of Port Salerno. Long known as a busy commercial fishing village that supported many fish houses along the docks, is now evolving into an exciting, family-friendly arts, dining, and entertainment district. Come along with me as we find out for ourselves what's cool to do here in Port Salerno.
So the very beginnings of this place that we're standing in were named after a woman that heard voices from the dead.
For our first stop, we're getting up close and personal with the spirits of Port Salerno. On this ghost tour through the historic area, you might get a little spooked while learning all about the rich history and colorful characters that have called Salerno their home. Next on this episode of Destination Treasure Coast, we stay right here on the docks and we visit the working artists at the Fish House Art Center. If you want custom-made jewelry or a one-of-a-kind print, all with a beautiful backdrop, this is the place to come. We're also going to take a ride on the Pocket Hopper. What better way to spend an evening exploring the scenic waterways of this beautiful community than kicking back on this patio-style boat, relax, bring a bottle of wine, and enjoy the sights. And finally, there are many great restaurants in the area, but one stands out for its fresh seafood, great family service, and longevity. We're visiting Basin Seafood, where the smoked fish dip is amazing and the surface is even better. All that and more on this episode of Destination Treasure Coast. Standing in at only 4 square miles, the unincorporated town of Port Salerno that sits between Hope Sound and Stewart in Martin County is small and charming, just the way residents and visitors like it. The area originally was called Alicia, then Aberdeen, then Mulford, then Salerno, and finally, since 1959, Port Salerno. Over that time, commercial fishing has been a major part of life in the waterfront community. In its heyday, nearly 5 million pounds of mackerel alone would come through these docks every year. Today, you can still catch longtime fishermen bringing in their day's catch. The wildly popular annual Port Salerno Seafood Festival brings in thousands from all over the state. The area has also had a sort of renaissance in arts and culture, many coming here to be inspired by the natural beauty. The area has become a popular destination for fun while still maintaining its old Florida charm. Our first stop today takes us to Port Salerno after dark. You better leave a light on, it's about to get spooky. As night falls here in Port Salerno, the real excitement starts. We're gonna go take a ghost tour with Patrick and Tricia, owners of Port Salerno Ghost Tours. I hear it's a little spooky, a lot of education about the area. Very excited to go. Let's go check it out. Patrick, Tricia, so nice to meet you guys.
How are you,
I'm
Bob?
so excited to be here. What are we gonna see tonight?
Well, tonight we're going to have a great time. We're going to learn a lot about the history of this fishing community and a lot of the spooky things that have happened here throughout that history. And this is my wife, Tricia. She's the paranormalist of our group, and I'm more the historian, and we make a great pair.
I've always been fascinated by the spirit world, but have never witnessed any paranormal activity, and I'm excited to see what this tour has in store for us. But first, a few tools to help us on our journey. We get our own electromotive force meter, the ubiquitous ghost hunting tool.
When you hold it just quietly and it goes off, then you know you got something.
If there's any kind of electrical impulse around which would indicate a spirit, the meters react to it.
These measure temperature. You hear about cold spots, right? Cold spots are when an entity wants to manifest, it takes energy from the outside airs and it gets colder.
All right, we have our tools. Let the spooks begin. Patrick, a historian and published author, along with his wife Patricia, a paranormalist, started mesmerized paranormal investigations 18 years ago. A tip from a friend led them to Port Salerno.
So Pat started doing the history because that's what Pat loves to do. That's his passion. So he went around and he began to study. He's like, I cannot believe the amount of history in this little plot of land. I said, okay, let's look at it.
In their research, they discovered many strange stories and many colorful characters that used to run through the area. From that, Port Salerno Ghost Tours was born. The walking tour, which lasts a couple of hours, can't actually start until the group is fully protected. The white sage smoke is an old Indian custom meant to call positive spirits to you while keeping the negative ones away.
Keeping the bad spirits away.
There you go.
Keeping the bad spirits away.
With interesting stories.
He named this little place Alice after his wife. So the very beginnings of this place that we're standing in were named after a woman that heard voices from the dead.
Okay, that's a creepy start. Now onto the docks where the stories of eccentric locals and rum-running outlaws continue. Something strange starts happening.
And that something very, very bad happened to those guys. I also believe that the spirit of those guys is still here on these docks.
So when Patrick was talking about the Ashley brothers, Trisha kind of noticed that her ghost meter started going off. What was it doing?
It's really common for a ghost meter to go off when he talks about the ashes in certain spots. And what this is an EMF detector. And then what it does is it measures any kind of electrical field around us, or if it changes. And if it changes, you'll see it start lighting up. So our belief system is if it starts to beep and there's no electrical wires or anything triggering it, then we might have a spirit on our hands.
Is that something unusual that it would start going off at that particular moment, or was that?
No, actually, when he starts talking about the ashes, it usually gives us a few little blips. So that's pretty common on our tour right now.
That's pretty cool. It's pretty amazing.
Man, Port Salerno must be haunted. We continue on and this happens.
Yeah, okay.
The Mesmers say they had been passing through this street for years without any activity on the meters. Then in this one spot, they all started to go off. After a little research, they found out a neighbor had just died.
So the meters are just going bonkers right now, but they say they're going to stop when we get up to the corner because apparently the man who had passed away that's making these meters go off, he kind of just inhabits this little area right here.
Yeah.
And that's it. Now they're off.
I don't know if you guys
That's his area right back there.
And don't forget, we have our infrared thermometer where it's easy to see a cold spot on a branch on this tree where a woman supposedly hanged herself a century ago.
47, 50. Okay. So all of a sudden you start seeing some really cold air that just shouldn't be there.
I got a 59. I don't know how a branch can be 59 degrees when it's like 85 degrees outside. It's kind of creepy.
So you get the idea. The picturesque town of Port Salerno has a whole other world that comes alive at night. And without ruining the surprises of the rest of the tour, let's just say I may have been communicating with my grandmother that left us many years ago. To get in touch with Patrick and Trisha and to reserve a spot on their next tour, check out their Port Salerno Ghost Tours Facebook page.
Destination Treasure Coast is brought to you by the Martin County Office of Tourism and Marketing. For more information, visit our website at discovermartin.com and find us on social media using the hashtag DiscoverMartin.
It's officially called the Boardwalk here along the water in Port Salerno, but it's known locally as the Pocket Walk. As you walk along picture-perfect Manatee Pocket, you'll run square to the Working Artist Studios at the Fish House Art Center. And that's our next stop. Let's take a tour of some of the shops and meet the artists.
From custom handmade prints to one-of-a-kind hand-blown glass beads to a shop with a real working loom, the Working Artist Studios along the docks of Port Salerno offer something for everybody.
This watercolor of a crab, basically just a simple crab, when you add different elements onto it, such as this is a package of napkins.
Sally Ekman Roberts Designs is where Sally herself creates her works. Many of her designs can be found on items in national retail stores.
But it all starts out as a drawing first.
Sally has been on the boardwalk of Port Salerno longer than most, her gallery being open for 11 years. She loves the vibe.
It's an eclectic group of people, and I really enjoy being around all the different types of people that appreciate the art. People wander in after having dinner or passing through, and they kind of just discover us here.
And that's what's so cool about the Working Artist Studios. It's just a short walk from the busy dining scene. Ryda Disbro says there's no place she'd rather have a shop than here in historic Port Salerno.
I love the people, I love the place, it's paradise, it's just wonderful.
In her shop, Havana Beads, she does custom lamp work, makes ceramics, and one-of-a-kind jewelry right here on site.
So this is called lamp working. It started back in the 1400s in Italy, and this is how it goes. We take glass rods that are from Italy. Most of my rods are from Italy. You heat up the rod just a little bit.
Through a technique invented more than 500 years ago, Ryda is able to heat a glass rod and manipulate it in such a way as to make a unique, one-of-a-kind bead.
So this is something that I've done in the flame. This is one of my conch shells. This is all freehand made out of glass.
Very unique things, and all available in her shop. Equally as unique, and just a few feet away, is Elizabeth Esther Kelly's Gateway to Tibet. Here, Elizabeth has a full-size loom that she creates original fabrics with.
I call the Salerno shoulder wrap, and it's something I designed when I moved to Florida that is a nice little cover that people can wear in the evenings.
Stop in and you'll usually find her behind the loom, willing to educate visitors about the fading art form.
Weaving is also a great metaphor for the interconnectedness of life, which is one of my primary interests. And it is also kind of an alchemical process to create fabric from thread, which is something I really enjoy.
Another fabric studio along the Pocket Walk makes things a little different.
So this is all indigo that's been dyed with shibori.
Suzanne Connors, owner of Aya Fiber Studio and Dye House, creates traditional and contemporary Japanese shibori.
Most traditional Japanese shibori is dyed with indigo, and it's because of the nature of the dye and the way it attaches itself to the fiber that you get these clear prints in the fabric.
This technique that dates back to the 6th century is how Suzanne hand dyes different fabrics with unique patterns in beautiful indigo blue.
But when we reduce the fiber, taking the oxygen out of it, when it comes out, it is green. And before your eyes, as the oxygen hits it, it'll oxidize and the fabric will turn blue before your eyes. It's like, we call it the magic of indigo.
Suzanne loves to share her craft so much that she even hosts classes and workshops on the principles and techniques of Japanese shibori. Danuta Rothschild over at Danuta's Den also offers workshops. In her working studio, you can come share in her passion and learn about vision boarding, mixed media, and even join her for a sip and paint class.
I paint since I was a little, and that's my passion. I never give up my passion, no matter what.
And her passion shows. The unique, surreal paintings she makes, all for sale of course, she never has a plan for. They just evolve when she puts ink on a canvas.
And this is what's so fun. I never know what's going to show up with my painting.
Works like this landlocked yacht with a crazy megaphone coming out of it, or this man holding onto some roots attached to a large zipper connected to a piece of land holding a bathtub and surfers, among other things, brings a sense of whimsy and color to life. Kind of like what Danuta says the Fish House Art Center is all about.
And I love this, the boats and people that coming here and constant movement.
Around the corner from Danuta is Gail Naomi Kasowski.
An old school kind of really nice community. Yeah. And it feels like a taste of old Florida here.
Gail operates Clay Space, a large studio where she teaches everything clay.
I like the idea of having it as sort of a community center. Some of the final products I have.
You can buy her creations right here in the studio or come to one of her workshops.
It was a custom order for a 3-foot tall vase. It's going to be mosaicked.
She says when she heard that a space was opening up along the water, she just had to be here. She's been inspired ever since.
We get the breeze from the water, and it's just a really lovely place. And the boaters and boater community and the artist community makes for a really nice collective experience.
If you want to look up more information or join a class at Clay Space or any of the other artists we featured, go to the Fish House Art Center website at fishhouseartcenter.com.
The South Florida band Fresh Catch provided some of the music used in this episode of Destination Treasure Coast.
There's really so much going on here at the docks in Port Salerno, so many cool things to see, so many cool things to do. But if you really just want to kick back and chill and relax and still see all the sights, you got to go with Captain Blair and hop on the Pocket Hopper. Let's go for a ride. Hey Captain, how you doing?
Good, welcome aboard the Pocket Hopper.
Thanks
nice
for
to meet
having
you.
me.
Oh, no problem.
What are we going to see today? This is pretty cool here.
Well, we got an all-electric boat, as you know. It's going to be whisper quiet as we go along, no fumes, completely green. We'll probably, first of all, I'm going to tell you a lot of history about the Salerno Manatee Pocket, which a lot of people don't know. We'll see the resorts, we'll see some restaurants, a lot of wildlife, might see some dolphin, and see some manatee. Yeah.
Sounds good.
We create a memory, as I tell everybody, one boat ride at a time.
All right,
so
should we get
this
going?
is your turn. Absolutely. Let's get going.
Captain Blair Cookie and his boat, the Pocket Hopper, have been cruising visitors around the waterways of Port Salerno for well over a year now.
People love it. They can bring their drinks on board, their food on board, their children, their pets, and just go out and enjoy the water and what the water has to offer.
Weather pending, the 1-hour tour, which runs 7 days a week, year-round, starts behind the Twisted Tuna restaurant and takes you to areas you can't see by car or bike.
It's a great way to come on out either in the lunchtime or sunset, which is our busiest time, and just decompress.
Captain Blair says that his quiet boat allows him to get you closer to the wildlife.
How many times have you been out on the water and a school of dolphin will swim right up to your boat? It doesn't happen that often. It does on our boat because it's electric.
And the stories that he tells about the history of the area are equally intriguing.
Where there is now a house, back during the war, there used to be a shark house there. People are like, what's a shark house? They actually used to harvest all the parts of the sharks, primarily the vitamin A, which was used to help the eyesight of the bombers during the war.
So you get the picture-perfect views and a fun history lesson at the same time. And that's not all.
Captain Blair says if you're even feeling a little thirsty while you're on board, they can stop at one of the mini bars right here, let you get out, get a drink, hop right back on and keep cruising.
A lot of adults, they want to bring some adult beverages on board. Cocktails, refreshments. You don't want to do that if you're driving your own boat. So you come on board, you got your friends, you got your family, you're having your appetizers, you're enjoying your adult beverage.
So if you're looking for something to do with those extra house guests this snowbird season, or want to take a fun and quick trip after dinner, hop on the Pocket Hopper and let Captain Blair do the rest.
Just enjoy the water, the wildlife, the marine life, and they get to see some really nice houses, some cool boats, and they just have a great time.
For more information about the boat rides, go to pockethopperinc.com.
And now for our final stop, it's time to get our eat on. And Port Salerno has no shortage of options. The area offers a diverse variety of restaurants to choose from. There really is something for everybody on the menu. Today we're going to check out one of the longest standing restaurants in the area, Basin Seafood.
In this area right here, we have our steamers, New England, from New England. Actually, they're out of Maine. You have your mussels here and your clams. You got your top necks.
Donald Plant shows us one of his coolers with some of the freshest seafood in Martin County.
And these are oysters. They're out of Louisiana.
Basin Seafood started with just a couple of coolers more than 30 years ago and has become a local hotspot known for its friendly vibe and tasty plates. Donald says when he opened up in 1984, there were several fish houses around the area. Of that original group, Basin is the only one still here. He credits that to a little luck, but also a simple formula.
You just try to run your business the best you can, and you don't worry about the other guy. You know, whatever he's doing, he's doing. You got to do what you think is right. And we lasted, and they didn't.
Of course, having the freshest seafood around also helps. Through the years, Donald has forged many partnerships with fishermen around the country and gets fresh deliveries daily. He says lots of places offer seafood that has been previously frozen. That never happens at Basin.
We give them good seafood, and that's the main thing. Give them fresh seafood, If anything isn't right, it goes in the garbage.
And at Basin, you literally can't get fresher crabs anywhere.
We have about 120 traps out there, and I do the crabbing myself.
But it's not just the seafood that wins guests over. It's the family atmosphere and friendly service that keep people coming back. And that makes sense, because as Donald may be the boss, it's his family that really keep Basin going.
My sister-in-law's been with me for probably 25, 26, 27 years. My brother works part-time, a couple days a week. My daughter just started taking that over in the kitchen.
His granddaughter also helps out during the summer. He loves being around his family, but jokes, there is a downside to it.
I can't fire nobody. That's the only bad part. You can't fire nobody. They do something wrong, you can't fire them.
Beyond the pickup and takeout business, there's also a full menu restaurant that always gets rave reviews.
It's excellent food. You know, everything comes out of the showcase. We don't, since it's our own place, we don't buy separate for the restaurant. When they need something, they just come and grab it out of here.
Currently, patrons can sit under umbrellas outside on picnic tables while they eat, but plans soon call for a renovation to the building to add indoor seating. Top menu items include the Big Mouth sandwich that is a full half-pound of mahi and Basin's famous smoked fish dip.
That's the smokehouse right here now.
Donald shows me the smokehouse right next to the site where they smoke fish for 6 to 8 hours to get the perfect texture and flavor for the dip.
We use strictly dolphin, no byproducts.
The fish dip is so popular, several local restaurants carry it on their menus too. Oh, and don't forget the wings. They're so good, Donald made a sign reminding that the fish house can satisfy even the landlubbers too. To check out Basin's full menu and to see their hours, check out their website, basinseafoodstewart.com.
Well, that was a really fun episode of Destination Treasure Coast. If you're in the area, you definitely need to check out all the cool stuff going on in Port Salerno. And keep an eye out for our next episode. I can't wait to show you where we go next. I'm Bob Hogensen. Thanks for watching.
Is it rolling?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Patrick and Trisha? Trisha. Okay, I need to know who you guys are better than that.
Gail Naomi. Gail, but I'm Gail Kosowski, but I go by Gail Naomi, so I guess I should just say.
You tell me what you want. Who are you, Gail?
Oh, no, don't say that.
She had a beer. She was a passenger, it's all good. It's time to get our eat on. And Port Salerno has a ton of options. I sound like a dum-dum. You're gonna learn a lot about the rich history of the area and probably get a few ghost bumps. That was so close.
Shivers.
Yeah, I wanted to say, yeah, you know what I want to say.